In the opening shots, we see a grim crime scene and the body of a woman. Sometime earlier, Martyna is driving down the highway while her husband, Voit Poznanski, monitors her every movement through a smartwatch. Martyna feels trapped. The marriage has long become a prison with no way out. Voit's father Stefan lives with them, but things are about to change. Martyna arrives and gives her husband a small gift, a fancy lighter. Voit announces that his father is moving out. Martyna doesn't look especially happy about the news. Stefan will be living in the apartment where Martyna used to live, and she's worried that her father-in-law will be left completely alone. Voit tells his wife she'll be able to keep an eye on him. Stefan's things are quickly moved into the apartment. Voit clearly can't wait for his father to start living separately. The apartment needs cleaning, and Voit suggests his wife do it right away. After all, their daughter Kornelka goes to kindergarten, so Martyna has plenty of free time. Soon the couple attend their daughter's swimming competition. The janitor, a young woman named Adelina Marksevska, watches Voit intently. For Martyna, her daughter is the reason to keep the marriage together. Voit, often swamped with work, frequently comes home late. It's normal for him to check his wife's phone. She no longer even protests. Voit is extremely possessive and constantly reminds Martyna that she lives off his money, so she must do everything he says. At times Martyna feels she's at the edge, unaware that something is about to happen that will turn her life upside down. Later detectives wonder, was it an accident, a crime, or did the victim deliberately harm herself? A lighter was found in the apartment, but the victim didn't smoke, which means she wasn't alone. Perhaps a lover was with her. Shortly before this, Voit, a well-known businessman who donates money to the city budget, gives an interview. He's shown on the news, holding his daughter. Alicia, Martyna's longtime friend, sees the interview and calls her. At that moment Martyna is cleaning Stefan's apartment and suddenly hears him vomiting in the bathroom. Stefan has a drinking problem. Martyna is puzzled. Why does Stefan do this when he seemingly has everything? He replies that in truth he has nothing at all. Alicia is excited about her 22-year-old son Daniel returning home for the holidays. She shares her plans to quit her hospital job and open a bike rental business. They could run it together. Daniel has always dreamed of it. But everything has changed. Daniel says those were just childhood dreams, and soon he plans to leave for Italy. The thought of parting with her son again causes Alicia indescribable pain, though she tries not to show it. Still, Daniel is an adult now, with a life of his own. On a dating site, he comes across the profile of a pretty young woman named Adelina. When Alicia, who lives one floor below Stefan, isn't home, the doorbell rings. It's Martyna. The last time she saw Daniel, he was a head shorter. Now he's a handsome young man. Martyna asks how college is going. Daniel replies that everything's great, though his mother would prefer he stayed close. For now, Alicia can't leave her job at the hospital. She's a trauma doctor. When one of her patients, Roddick, starts flirting with her, she firmly shuts him down. Later, Alicia and Martyna go on a small picnic with their children. Alicia complains that she feels lonely. Her son seeks independence, yet he's all she has. Alicia envies Martyna's marriage, which seems perfect from the outside. Martyna, on the contrary, would gladly trade places with Alicia, who has what truly matters: independence and freedom. Martyna and Daniel swim together. Near this young man, Martyna feels something she hasn't felt in a long time, though she's afraid to admit it to herself. She comes home late, which infuriates Voit. He demands total obedience from his wife. He wants to know exactly where and with whom she spends her time. Their argument frightens Kornelka, and she starts crying, but Voit forbids Martyna to comfort their daughter, believing she's trying to manipulate them. Martyna is strongly against such parenting methods, but Voit doesn't care. Martyna dreams of running away, anywhere, as long as Voit doesn't find her. And only Kornelka keeps Martyna grounded and gives her the strength to go on. In the present, detectives are interrogating Adelina, who can barely keep it together. But she is determined to tell everything. Shortly before, Adelina finishes her shift at the pool, where she is met by Daniel. They had met online. The young pair head down to an overgrown, abandoned pool and drink wine straight from the bottle, chatting about everything. A spark of chemistry ignites between them instantly. When Daniel walks Adelina home, it turns into passion. But they're interrupted by the arrival of Adelina's mother, a woman suffering from bipolar disorder, whom Adelina cares for and ensures she takes her medication on time. Daniel, confused, doesn't know what to say. But Adelina doesn't need support and refuses to go with him. They say goodbye. Daniel walks away alone. Alicia doesn't like that her son didn't come home for the night. Daniel declares that he doesn't owe her any explanations. He's grown up and doesn't need his mother's permission to go out or date girls. Alicia still can't come to terms with the fact that Daniel is no longer a child. In the morning, Voit brings his wife a large bouquet of flowers as a peace offering. He says he behaved foolishly yesterday and that he's sorry. Martyna silently places the bouquet in a vase. He insists that yesterday's argument was actually provoked by Martyna, but despite that, he swallowed his pride and apologized. Martyna can't believe Voit truly sees himself as the victim in this situation. Before another fight can erupt, he gives her a beautiful pendant. Martyna puts it on, looking utterly miserable. She continues to visit Stefan regularly and cook for him. Suddenly he hands her his late wife's jewelry. Stefan knows very well what kind of man his son is, so he advises Martyna to sell the jewelry and run from Voit. It's the only way to save Kornelka. Martyna understands it won't be that simple, but she takes the jewelry anyway. In the present, detectives interrogate Martyna and show her a photo of Iona Marksevska, Adelina's mother. Martyna last saw Iona about 20 years ago. When asked if her husband knew this woman, Martyna replies that she isn't sure. The detectives want to know if Voit had received any threats recently. In the past, Iona's behavior is spiraling further out of control, and Adelina is barely managing. In an old envelope, Adelina finds photos from 20 years ago, and suspects that the well-known businessman Voit Poznanski is her father, a man who never played a part in raising her. Adelina often sees Voit at the pool with his daughter, and it's becoming harder and harder for her to hide her emotions. On the street, Martyna runs into Daniel, and they have a pleasant conversation. Daniel openly flirts. For Martyna, talking to him feels like a breath of fresh air, because the rest of the time Voit controls her every move. Adelina shares her suspicions with Daniel that Voit might be her father. Daniel disagrees, saying photos prove nothing, besides, it might just be someone who looks like him. At night, Adelina watches the Poznanski home and takes photos of Voit and Martyna playing with their daughter. Iona's condition continues to worsen rapidly. She often behaves like a small child. Adelina feels utterly powerless. In the present, detectives are trying to piece together the full picture of what led to the tragedy. The main theory is that the poor desperate woman voluntarily passed away. But what if it wasn't that simple? Shortly before, Martyna visits Stefan again to cook him dinner. Then she stops by to see Daniel, who lives one floor below with his mother. He immediately offers her a glass of wine. Daniel clearly wants something more between them, and eventually Martyna gives in. Afterward, Martyna makes it clear that it was a mistake and that it must never happen again. Adelina cautiously asks her mother if Voit Poznanski is her father. Iona reacts badly and asks her daughter to forget about it. Adelina texts Daniel suggesting they meet today, but suddenly sees him through the window, with Martyna. Daniel replies that he's busy and won't make it. Later, Daniel goes on a bike ride in the woods with his mother. Afterwards, Martyna shares with Alicia her plans to return to teaching. But she chooses not to speak of her problems. She and Voit are still the image of a perfect couple. At the hospital, Roddick once again asks Alicia out, but she still firmly declines. The man doesn't understand why Alicia won't give him a chance. Martyna begins offering online literature tutoring, but only from Alicia's apartment, so that Voit won't find out. Daniel is simultaneously seeing both Martyna and Adelina. Of course, Adelina suspects Daniel as being unfaithful, but right now she has bigger problems. Her mother is refusing to take her medication, which has worsened her condition. While waiting for the elevator, she cries. Martyna doesn't expect to find Alicia at her door. Alicia declares that Daniel is seeing someone else, and she's not going to just let it go. Martyna explains that Daniel is an adult and has the right to do as he pleases. Maybe if Alicia tried to build a personal life of her own, she'd give her son some space. But Alicia says she doesn't need a man to be happy. When Martyna is about to visit Stefan again, she runs into Adelina at the building entrance. The girl remembers that Martyna used to live here. Martyna confirms this and says she's been friends with Alicia since childhood. They also used to be friends with Iona Marksevska, who lives in the same high-rise. This leaves Adelina a bit confused, but she says nothing out loud and simply walks away. Martyna continues to take care of her father-in-law while also seeing Daniel. Voit always tracks his wife's location through his smartwatch, but so far suspects nothing, since she spends much of her time at Stefan's apartment. Voit treats Martyna like a servant who must do whatever he demands. Daniel wants Martyna to divorce Voit and stay with him. He says he'll take care of her. Martyna replies that it's not that simple. That same day she sells the jewelry Stefan gave her. When Martyna returns home, she sees an offensive message scrawled across their window. She checks the footage from the outdoor security camera, but the vandal's face is hidden by a hood. In a rush, Martyna packs up some things and then brings 2 suits to her husband's office, just as he instructed. In the parking lot, he's speaking to a girl in a hoodie, the same one who vandalized their window. Martyna is barely holding it together. Voit is angry that she's late. She explains that his father wasn't feeling well. In the present, during interrogation, Detectives ask Martyna where she was on the evening of August 22nd. She says she was at her father-in-law's place, Stefan Poznansky. Shortly before these events, Adelina tells her mother she saw her father that day, but he furiously sent her away. Adelina is confused as to why her mother never told her anything. Iona replies that she just wanted to protect her. Voit is a bad man, he treated her terribly. Daniel has no idea that Adelina secretly installed a hidden surveillance camera in his apartment. Seeking revenge, Adelina sends the video of Daniel and Martyna caught in a moment of passion to someone. When Alicia returns home late at night after a bike ride, she receives that very video. And after her, Voit. Martyna comes to Stefan's with Kornilka to say goodbye. He says he'll miss them, and they embrace. Martyna has one more thing to take care of and asks Stefan to watch Kornilka for a little while. But things don't go as planned when she receives a message with the video. She rushes to Daniel in a panic and says someone knows about them. Martyna begs Daniel to forget her. Martyna manages to leave just before Alicia arrives. Daniel packs his things and says he's getting the hell out of there. Alicia tries to stop her son, and he says that now he understands why his father left her, then walks out. Martyna is in a panic, realizing that her husband most likely already knows everything. In the present during the interrogation, Adelina tearfully says that she met her father only once, on the parking lot of his office. Adelina handed him the envelope with photographs and asked him to help her sick mother. But in response Voit threatened her and drove her away in anger. Adelina refuses to believe that her mother harmed herself. She is convinced that Voit Poznansky was responsible. Supporting this theory is the fact that Voit's lighter was found at the scene. The detectives believe Adelina, she has just lost her mother and has no reason to lie. Shortly before that, Voit was arrested. After learning of his wife's affair, he brutally beat her. During her interrogation, Martyna says that her husband has issues with anger. Not long ago, he mentioned that someone was trying to blackmail him. When detectives show her a photo of the lighter, Martyna confirms it belongs to her husband. For Martyna, the most important thing is that her daughter is now with her. Martyna has won, she's escaped the trap of her long, miserable marriage. Alicia comes to Martyna to talk openly. Alicia knows that Adelina and Martyna lied during their police interviews about Voit visiting Iona Marksevska's apartment. In truth, he was looking for Martyna. It was Alicia who had sent him the video. Martyna recalls how she caught up with Adelina by the elevator and demanded to know what she wanted. At that moment Adelina revealed that she was Voit's daughter, and that she knew about Martyna's affair with Daniel. Adelina wanted them all to suffer. But when Adelina entered her apartment, she saw her mother standing on the windowsill, ready to jump. The woman said that Voit had been there. Adelina tried to convince her mother not to do anything rash, but Iona jumped right in front of her daughter and Martyna. At that very moment Voit happened to be passing by. Martyna persuaded Adelina to join forces and frame Voit. It was their only chance to get revenge for everything. It was Voit who called the police and reported the incident as an accident. But by that time, Martyna and Adelina had already planted evidence at the scene to make it look convincing. After that, Martyna returned home, and Voit enraged attacked her. Alicia wonders why Martyna kept silent all these years about what was really happening in her marriage. One way or another, Alicia intends to turn her in. If she does, Martyna's life will be destroyed. So what will her choice be?